Welcome back to Joy of the Hang. It's Sharon and Lauren again. Hey there, everyone. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, Sharon.
How are we doing today?
We are doing just swell.
Just swell.
Swell. Fantastic.
Fantastic. Are we ready to talk about some I don't know, sexual stuff today?
Yes, we have
get
to
into
talk
it.
Let's just get right into it. So I was just having this conversation with my husband and a couple other of our friends, and we were talking about cheating and what constitutes cheating. So I was curious what your thoughts were. Like, if a guy goes to a strip club, do you consider going to a strip club cheating?
I do not consider going to a strip club if I know about it.
Okay.
If he told.
Now, see, that's interesting. So you want to know about it.
I would want to. Yeah, I don't want him to hide it from me. But
Now,
yes,
what
I
about
know.
a lap dance?
No, I don't think that's cheating either.
Okay.
No.
Because it's funny, a lot of women would consider just going to the strip club cheating, and then a lot of women would consider a lap dance cheating.
Do you think it's cheating?
I don't. I mean, the irony is the women are getting paid to do it. They don't give a crap who your husband is compared to Joe Blow or whomever else. But I do have to admit to you, I agree with you. I would want to know.
I'd want to know. I might even want to be there to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the knowing is important. I
Yeah.
mean, you could take it a step further and be like, I mean, look when you're having sex and you're fantasizing. So if I'm having sex with my husband and, thinking about Mark Wahlberg in my head is, am I cheating?
Right. No, you're not. And I mean, obviously, if they take it a step further and go up to a private room upstairs, I might have a problem with that. No, I would have a problem with that. The lap dance I'm okay with. But I definitely have boundaries. I would have boundaries around it.
Yeah, I guess there'd have to be boundaries. I mean, I know you've been in strip clubs just like I have, and there's definitely a difference with where you're getting the lap dance too. Sometimes they have these private little
rooms,
areas, and you're not sure if what exactly is going on in those private rooms.
Correct. But no, I like strip clubs. I mean, I don't find them, I think they're fun. I think they can give you a little spark in your relationship. It's kind of exciting.
You and I have to go because I drive by that one like every day.
I know, I haven't been in there.
It's right on Tamiami, Cheetahs. And, I see guys walking in there that look like they've just played golf.
Well, what do you think about women going to strip clubs? Like, do you think that's appropriate?
I think that's totally
No big deal, right?
No big deal.
Yeah. Especially if you go with your partner. I just feel like if you go with your partner, like it really does add a little bit of excitement. I don't know, I just feel like it adds a little spark to your relationship.
Well, I love
It's sexy.
anything
It's just
artistic.
sexy. Yeah.
I like watching cheerleaders. I like watching people dance. And certainly, I just did that pole dancing class. If you can call it that. The instructor was pole dancing. I was just holding on to the pole, putting my leg around it and not really being that artistic. For sure. But you can certainly see how fun it would be to be good at it. And I think it's cool and could be exciting. I think you definitely can't dive into what some women want to start talking about and is, well, the strippers are, it's because they were abused or an abusive relationship and they don't really want to be there. And why do you have to assume that they're not making the conscious decision to be there because they're making a lot of money per hour?
Right. And maybe some of them do have that background, but people have that background in every profession. Newsflash. You know what I mean? It's like, to each their own as far as that. But I think as far as if we're talking about cheating, there are a lot of things that I probably do consider cheating that a lot of women may not. Like, for a long time, I thought my husband watching porn behind my back was cheating.
Do you know so many women think that? Which do you still now?
I'm a little more open-minded about it, but I definitely had an issue. Again, it was more not the watching of the porn, it was the hiding of it.
Well, what's the difference between a guy, masturbating in the shower or masturbating when you get up early to go for a run and watching porn?
What's the difference? What do you mean? In cheating?
To me,
cheating?
it seems.
I just
like
felt
the
okay. I
exact same
think.
thing.
Well, again, it's more the hiding of it and not being honest about it. I think it's more like, for me, it's like, why are you turning to some other female online instead of turning to me? Like, I guess I always wanted to be the person to get those needs met. So I think that's. I don't feel that way now. Like, I totally understand it that most men watch porn and a lot of women watch porn.
And if they're not actually watching it, then they're watching it in their head.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So they're fantasizing.
They're fantasizing in their head.
What's the difference if they're watching?
What's the difference of like watching a video or thinking about it in their head when they're in the shower and masturbating?
So what if they're on one of those paid sites? Do you think that's cheating if they're paying for it?
That's so funny you say that. That would bother, a paid site would bother me.
Like an OnlyFans, if your husband was paying.
Yes, then I might be concerned that there was a problem. And then also, Sharon, I feel like with the, something they're paying for, are they seeing the same woman? Is it live?
Right.
Is it like OnlyFans? That, to me, I would have a problem with that. That, to me, is very different than, doing a
going on
video
Pornhub or
going
something.
On Pornhub or,
Yeah, where they're just random videos.
Yeah, the paying for it would make me think that my partner had a problem, I think.
Yeah, see, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone has different. So, and the other thing that's cheating for me would be like hiding text to another woman or, Googling somebody that they find, like all that to me feels distrustful.
Yes, I've said before, I'll say it again, I don't understand why spouses wouldn't know each other's codes on their phone. I don't understand even if it's work stuff. I mean, I don't really care what my husband has on his phone work-wise, but certainly why does something have to be secret if it comes through? I just think that I would be... Me personally would be concerned if my husband had a passcode on his phone and I didn't know what it didn't know what it was.
I feel like there should be full transparency in a relationship, especially a marriage.
Yeah, if you have to hide something, then right then and there, why are you
red flag, right?
Yeah, red flag.
That's a red flag.
Which I love the whole red flag thing. I mean, there are so many things when you're dating someone that has the red flag.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
didn't you have red flags when you were dating people?
Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I mean, this may sound silly, but a red flag for me when I was dating people is when we would go out to dinner, I would like take a drink out of their glass or eat something off their plate and I would see how they would react.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I once had a guy say to me, that's mine. I'll buy you whatever you want.
Oh, I didn't want to share.
That's mine. Didn't want to share.
That's a good one. Well, Scott would have been out immediately because he's always eating off my plate or drinking out of my glass. Right? Definitely eating off my plate. But yeah I think one big one for me when I was dating is if they drank too much. Oh my gosh, if they show up for a date and they were already half in the bag, no.
Yeah, no thanks. And then but I could not be with someone who was sober. If my spouse had a problem with alcohol into our marriage and went sober, that would be completely different to me. But I would not have ever dated somebody who was sober.
That wouldn't have bothered me. My ex-husband, we hardly ever had alcohol in our house. Huh. So
But how old were you when you started dating it?
20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 20.
I thought maybe
20,
age would come into play there because I started dating my husband at 23.
Yeah,
and
he was
married
6 years
at
old.
27.
He was 6 years older, so he would have a beer now and then. But honestly, we might have champagne on New Year's Eve, but there just wasn't. We didn't have a bar in the house. We might occasionally have a 6-pack in the fridge, but yeah, it was very. We didn't really have a lot of alcohol around our kids.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. I happen to follow people who are sober, and so you know how Instagram works or TikTok, once you follow some of these sites, you just get inundated with more and more. But it's, I totally believe that alcohol is not good for us.
Yeah.
I exercise, I eat well, I take my vitamins, but I drink alcohol. I'm not interested at this point in my life in being sober. I, have a love affair with my martini or wine glass with a stem.
Always.
But I do think alcohol is not good for you.
I thought about you the other day. Where was I? I was somewhere and they served, oh my gosh, what was it? I think it was a vodka soda and it was in I know where it was now, Beso downtown.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't
they
go there.
don't have glasses with a stem.
Nope.
It was a martini. No, it was a Cosmo. I had a Cosmo, and it was a little, like a rocks glass, served in a rocks glass. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is this? You don't serve a martini in a rocks glass.
Can you
it was awful.
imagine? Can you
Didn't
imagine?
even taste the same.
Let me paint a picture for you, Sharon.
Okay.
Can you imagine Sarah Jessica Parker, a.k.a. Carrie, showing up with her
Sex in the
girlfriends in her
City.
little Fendi bag and her sparkly skirt and her just all over fabulousness, getting a Cosmopolitan in a glass without a stem?
No, and it had crushed ice in this Cosmo.
Yeah.
No, everything about it.
The
was
whole
wrong.
show would have sucked. It would have been ruined.
wouldn't have been the
I mean,
same.
it would not have been the same. Yeah, I literally, I'm not going to lie, I do not go to Beso because I don't like how they serve their cocktails as well as their wine in the stemless.
Sorry, Beso. You need to get some glasses with some stems on them.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
If you want the hang squad girls there.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
gotta
I
do
mean,
it.
even the restaurant over near me, Arts and Central. They in the beginning didn't. We, there's no sense complaining about something. We actually said to the head guy there, the head bartender, Chris, and he said, you know what? Thank you for telling me. I appreciate the feedback. You are by far not the only person to mention that. And now they do have wine glasses with stems, but I love him because before they changed it, we would go back there all the time since it's a block from our house, and he had a glass behind the bar with a stem.
There you go.
Isn't that
That's
cool? I
good
mean, he
service.
actually knew that would make a difference in me showing up there. And we sit at the bar. We're good patrons. We're friendly. We wait our turn if it's busy. We tip really well.
Right.
So
I
think
great
it was
customer
smart. He did
service.
that,
Yeah,
right?
it
Isn't
keeps you
that
coming
good?
back. Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely. So other red flags, I had another one. Here's a great one. So when the guy always refuses to pick up the tab, when you're first starting to date and he won't pick up the tab, that's a red flag.
I have to admit, I never went on a date where a guy even
Didn't pick up the tab?
did not pick up the
Oh
tab,
my
like expecting me to do
gosh.
it. You went
Yeah.
on a bunch of dates like that?
Yes, either expected me to pick up the tab or at least
How old
split
were
it
you?
and go Dutch. Oh, this was after my divorce, so I was in
Okay.
my 40s. I mean, and
What?
Yeah, it
And
was
where were you living at the
In
time?
Maine.
That's
Pretty bad,
crazy.
huh?
Do you hear that, single girls? Do not
Yeah.
go to Maine.
Don't go to Maine. I could tell you exactly who not to
Davis
date.
Row. Davis Row, newsflash.
Don't go to Maine.
Public service announcement.
God.
Do not go to Maine if you want to
Jeez.
have to.
Bad.
That's horrible. I remember my twin sister coming home from a date and she said, that was a no-go. And I said, what happened? And she said, he took us to a Chinese restaurant and he ordered for us and he ordered 2 of the same dishes.
No. You have to share.
Of course you share.
No.
That's
Scott
why
and I
they
still do that.
That's why they have the
Oh my God.
the lazy Susan.
No, last
so
night-
that you can spin it around. and share.
Exactly, the poo-poo platter. So yes, Scott and I went out last night for our second anniversary, and he was going to order the same dessert because we both wanted the chocolate souffle, and I went, no. You get that, and I'm getting something else, and we're both going to take bites of each other's, right?
You
I mean,
always share because there are no
yeah.
calories if you eat it off your partner's plate.
Oh, that's a good.
Right?
I
You
didn't know
know
that. No, but I'm glad because I did have some of his chocolate souffle. Oh my God, we ate at Maison Blanche. It was fantastic.
Oh, how is that? We heard that's really good.
It was off the hook. Really, really good. Expensive.
What'd you have?
Expensive.
What'd you
but
eat?
Good. Oh gosh, I started with blue crab, and it was wrapped in avocado, and it was amazing. It was so fresh and so good. And Scott had a mushroom ravioli, and the ravioli was homemade, fresh pasta. Oh my God. And the sauce that it was in, it was to die for. I was already full after the appetizer. And then they have a prefix menu. So it was just, you get, 3 different courses. So the main was, I had a red snapper that was unbelievable. It was so good. And Scott got...
Would you know, Sharon, like if you ordered the red snapper and it wasn't red snapper, would you know?
I would know most. Yeah, I love fish. I would know.
I mean, if it was
know.
like, you order a flounder and it's not like light and flaky and it's more fishy, like a bluefish maybe, but I don't think that I would know if someone gave me like red snapper or Chilean sea bass. I'm not sure how sophisticated my palate is when it comes to fish.
Girl, I owned a restaurant for 8 years. I think I should know my fish. I know my fish. I mean, the fish is different in Florida than it was in Maine, but yes, I would know the difference. And Scott had this, I'd never seen this before, but they made like beef Wellington, but they made it with lamb. And it was really, really good. And then for dessert, of course, we did the chocolate souffle.
I'm surprised he could get that by himself. Usually restaurants serve something like that and they make you, like a Chateaubriand or a beef Wellington, they make you get it for 2 people.
Yeah, it was sliced like a little filet mignon. 2 little filet mignons is what it looked like. Wrapped in the puff pastry and
Now you said it was
herbs.
Expensive, so for the 2 of you to go out.
Well, we each had a couple of glasses of wine, and the
Right.
prefix menu was $90 per person.
Oh, that's actually very reasonable.
And then add the
Not
wine.
including the alcohol.
Right, then you add the
Yeah.
wine on. So I think it was with tip and everything close
Can
to
you
300.
imagine how rich we would all be if we didn't drink?
Oh, I know, right? I know. Well, normally I don't, but I mean, I got a Sauvignon Blanc, and it was, I think, from the Provence region in France, and it was
Okay.
the best. We should have taken a picture of the bottle because it was
Those are the only
so
ones I
good.
can drink. If it's from New Zealand, I can't drink it. I do not like fruit. And Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand tastes very fruity. It's
Yeah.
like when you bring it up to your nose, it's like you're
I have
putting
to
a
tell you,
grapefruit up
you
your
would have
nose.
loved this wine because I know how much you love your white wine. It was chilled perfectly. It was like nice and cold, and it just was crisp, and it was delicious. And Scott had a Bordeaux. That's what he had.
Well, the temperature makes a
amazing.
difference. The other night we were at what's that place called? Victoria's. What is the name of that restaurant?
Yeah, Veronica's.
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 We were at Veronica's, and you have Aaron and Daniel, who are the 2 bartenders there. And Aaron made my martini, and what he does that's so smart is he keeps the glass in the refrigerator till the last second.
Yeah.
So meaning until he has completely shaken up my martini, for the 60 seconds or whatever he does, then he pulls it out of the refrigerator right before he pours it. And I tell you, it does make a difference.
It makes a difference. I agree.
It's the little things like that.
Yeah.
Little things can make a very big difference.
I agree. It's very important in a restaurant. So I wanted to bring up Dr. Ruth Westheimer's book again, Sex for Dummies.
We love Dr. Ruth. Bring her up again.
All right. So we're going to read from the chapter, 10 Things Women Wish Men Knew About Sex. So for all you women out there, let's see if Dr. Ruth got these 10 things right. First one is chivalry isn't dead yet. Do you agree with that? Meaning women really do like it when you hold the door open for us.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
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 I think it's important. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, I think most women still want a man to be a man and kind of be the one that takes charge, don't you?
Yes, I do. I mean,
Not all. I mean, there's certainly
no, but I like to feel protected.
Yeah.
And then from a sexual point of view, I've always said I like the look of a guy who looks like he can take a punch to the face. Gabby always used to laugh when I'd be watching TV and they'd be interviewing.
Gabby looks like he's taken a few punches to the face.
He could,
Right? He's tough.
Certainly, he's tough. He was the
is
bruiser when he played for the Wings indoor lacrosse. But Gabby would see me watching the TV, and they'd be interviewing some ice hockey player who was missing a tooth with blood, down his face.
And you thought that was hot.
Oh, so hot.
Is that why? That's why I like The Rock. I mean, I'm the same way.
Right?
Give me what's his name? The Rock is what's his name?
Oh, the actor's name?
Yeah. Chris.
Isn't that funny?
Dwayne Johnson. Sorry,
Dwayne Johnson. Can't even.
Ay.
Well,
I'm so in love with him. I can't even remember his name.
Well, that's like on the Saturday Night Live 50-year special. They brought the woman on who does all the costume changes, and they were saying she's seen every single person who's ever been on this show, every host, every, singer. She's seen them in their underwear, and they were like, who's your favorite? And she said, oh my God, it's not even
contest?
No contest, not even close. I'm going to say the name probably wrong. Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law loves him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was he in? I can't even remember what he's in. But
he was in that horrible Atlantis movie.
Wasn't he also on Game of Thrones?
Well, yes. I said every single husband, every single guy in this world should thank the creators of that show when we all watched it, because we would all watch that show, and I don't care if you were on your period. I don't care if you'd gotten up at 4 a.m. and were exhausted. After watching that show, you just grabbed your husband and were like, honey, let's go.
Right. They grabbed us.
On.
They grabbed us.
Yep, game on.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that was a great series, actually. I think we've watched it 2 or 3 times. Number 2 is appearances count. Appearances count. Yeah, men, take care of your grooming. Right?
Yeah, don't you think? Because women, I think, as a general rule, have always worried about it so much more than men have. And, women have been maintaining their bush for years. And men finally have caught up to that and are making it a little easier for us to go downtown.
They're doing a little manscaping. Thank you. Yes. And here's the tip on that from Dr. Ruth. She says, if you're the type of guy who complains that your wife doesn't make love to you enough, my guess is that you'd have more success in that area if you started dressing like Prince Charming instead of the frog. Right?
Although it can backfire. I mean, we all to each his own, but I cannot imagine being with a guy who blew dry his hair and would change 5 times before he went out, or who was too concerned with
too
his
much of a pretty
appearance.
boy. Yeah. I agree. There can be there's that happy medium, that fine line for sure.
Yeah.
But you definitely want them to I want my guy to take care of himself.
Yeah, you want him to care.
Absolutely. Number 3 is you can't hurry love. Can't hurry love.
Well,
what that means is,
what does that mean?
Well, it just says what women wish that men would realize is that if a man wants to have sex, he has to put romance first. While dinner at the best restaurant in town would be great, so would any opportunity for some quiet conversation, a moment to throw off the worries of the day, to let her get in the mood for lovemaking. So even if you're chomping at the bit, you have to be a tad more patient. Just means it takes a little longer for a woman to sometimes get in a place
in the mood
for love.
Yeah, I guess, but I think that each different kind of sex has a place. I don't want it the same all the time, and sometimes I do want a wham bam thank you ma'am. Sometimes I don't need dinner first. Other times I might like dinner first, but certainly
Yeah, but you've been married a long time. You think in your dating life you were that?
Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bam, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because that's like hot, unplanned, and you just want it ravenous, and I need to have it right now, and you want that
that's
sort
hot.
of. That's hot.
I agree. That's hot.
Where you're not thinking about anything else, but just sort of like getting a piece or getting off.
Isn't the best when the guy walks into the room if you're at your place and he just wants you so badly, he just immediately attacks you.
Yes.
That's there's nothing. It's oh my God, that's sexy.
Yeah, that's so sexy.
He wants me so much he can't even wait.
Yeah,
that's hot.
And that's the and sometimes though, if it's even repeat sex, like I was just asking our last guest we spoke with when we were not on air anymore, and we were talking about the whole, boomerang tang thing, as I call it,
Boomerang tang.
where,
Another
you
one
know,
of
they
it's a Laurenism. I'm going to start calling them Laurenism.
boomerang tang, like they keep coming back around. Like, you know, someone you would have booty calls with in college where, you know, when you didn't have a boyfriend or they didn't have a girlfriend and it was 2 a.m. and it was your.
Isn't that like friends with benefits?
Yes.
Kind of ish?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this one? A clitoris is not just a small penis. Then she goes on to say some men take the same attitude towards a woman's breasts as they do the clitoris. They need them as if they were dough, forgetting that they're made of tissue, are sensitive, and can even be bruised. The partners of these men would also appreciate it if they took a little more care with their knees and elbows, and if they'd make a serious effort not to lean on her hair. Oh, that's a big one, actually. I don't like my hair being pulled when I'm... Okay.
At all?
Well, not that
okay.
way. I just mean if it's accidental. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a position where your hair is getting pulled and you're like, ouch.
Well, there can be accidents because we actually had an issue the other night where I said I almost felt like my neck could have snapped. And I thought, would people believe you? Like,
yeah, right.
What? I always think of weird things like that because I, like a lot of other women, love to watch those shows on TV, the murder mysteries and the Discovery Channel that shows all those episodes about, you know, someone was killed, who did it, was it the husband, was it the boyfriend? But I thought, it could happen, you know, you're quickly being flipped from one position to another and your head, you know.
And thrown up in the air.
Well, right? But sometimes your pillows can put your neck in a different, so I'm actually, Sharon, surprised that it's never happened, that someone hasn't accidentally.
It probably has. It probably has. I bet we could find that. I bet it has.
I mean, we have a girlfriend who... There was a guy who played on a team with my husband, and I was dating my husband at the time, and this guy was dating a girl, and she was riding him. She was on top, and she came down and broke his penis.
Yeah, I have heard of that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, and it was bad. And I think the worst part wasn't what she did to him, from her telling me, was being in the waiting room with his parents.
Oh.
And they just glared at her like she was trash.
Aw.
I know, right?
That's awful.
I know.
That's awful. Well, I hope his penis heals.
But I think to go back to the needing the clitoris, I mean, every woman is different. Some women like it, you know, softer. Some women like it harder. Right. It just, that's where communication comes in.
Oh, yeah. You have to ask your partner what they enjoy for sure. You know, and some women don't need clitoral stimulation and some do. And in order to orgasm. So it's...
most.
I
would, now I'm going to want to Google it.
I would think most women would need clitoral stimulation to orgasm, but I mean, I don't know. Some
you know, there's a percent of women who have never, and it's a lot
who
higher than you think.
Never even had an orgasm. I can't even.
And it's kind of, I believe that saying that if you're not sure if you've had one, you probably have not had one.
Yeah, I think you would know.
Yeah,
I think you would know. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me either because there's like so many. I don't know. There's so many.
It does to me, Sharon, because that's the essence of why you and I are doing this and creating the Hang Squad and trying to make everything normal, talking about, you know, sex and divorce and death and everything. And I think that, you know, as women, we're trained to, you know, apologize all the time. We're made to feel, you know, uncomfortable about our vagina, how it looks, how it smells, you know, what it secretes. I mean, it seems perfectly normal that, you know, a guy comes, but for a woman, you know, if you secrete anything, oh my God. And so I just think that women are so nervous and uncomfortable. No wonder they can't have an orgasm.
That's a good point. That might be part of it. Yeah.
Totally part of it.
Yeah. And it's, you know what? Ladies, it's okay to feel good. It's okay to have that pleasure, and it does feel good.
And you look great. It doesn't matter how old you are, or what size you are, or what you're wearing or the lights are on, or, I mean, all the guy is thinking is, I'm having sex, like tits and vagina.
And even take the guy out of it. I mean, learn how to masturbate yourself and find out what feels good to you.
That's
and
a
that
good
way,
point.
and that way you can teach your partner what feels good when you have one, if you have a partner. So I think it is important to get to know your own body and not be
Sharon,
ashamed.
that's so good. I love that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, the next one. See, some of these I'm not completely sure I agree with, but this one says women need to bask in the afterglow. It says afterplay has an extra benefit. If you play your cards right, the afterglow will last right up until the next day and become the start of foreplay for the next session. What do you think? Do you need to bask in the afterglow? I'm usually like, I got to get up and get moving. What do you?
Well, it's funny. I was wondering if this is a difference between men and women, because I find as a general rule, I mean, sometimes, yes, it does help me fall asleep, but more so often than not, it makes my husband go right to sleep, and then I'm all like energized.
Yeah.
It like
true.
gives me endorphins or something with the sex. So I feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get up and do this or do that. So yeah, I get up. I cannot go back to bed after sex.
Maybe some of you ladies like to bask in it.
I mean, I don't jump up right away. I had a friend whose husband, every time immediately following sex, would have to go have a shower.
Okay, well.
And that's just a little. Dated a guy in college who would immediately do oral sex. Like anytime we hooked up, he'd go for it right away, go to town. But afterwards, he would go wash his face, and it was such a turnoff.
I can understand that. That's kind of
such a turnoff.
Should wait a little bit.
Yeah,
I agree with that. The next one from Dr. Ruth, it says kinky sex isn't sexy sex. She then says, I'm all in favor of fantasies, so I'd never tell you men to stop fantasizing. And if you want to ask your wife or girlfriend about a particular fantasy, go ahead. Just don't try to pressure her if she says no. Instead, pretend you're doing whatever turns you on when you're with her. If you keep pestering her, you'll just turn her off. And rather than getting kinky sex, you'll have no sex at all. That's not a good place to be.
Yes, I agree. Well, first of all, no one should ever use it as a, threat or tool, against someone in a relationship. And the word kinky could mean something different to everyone, but you definitely have to be comfortable. Like, let's say, for example, I wanted my husband to wear, women's clothes. And he was like, I'm not comfortable wearing women's clothes. I think you need to be able to talk about it. But I just saw, did we talk about this? How I think we did, that I had seen that movie Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman. And I thought, how sad that to not be able to have an orgasm because you haven't been able to have a conversation with your husband of so many years about what turns you on and what doesn't turn you on.
Well, and I think most people have a kink of some sort. And I think you really should be in a safe relationship where you can share that with your partner because, they may be willing to make that happen for you. And there shouldn't be shame around something that turns you on. And I think sometimes it becomes shameful. And I think everything should be on the table if you're in a safe relationship.
I agree with you.
So, wandering eyes means less sex. I think that speaks for itself, and I would agree with that.
Wait, please clarify, Sharon, because I'm confused. Let's clarify why a wandering eye.
I know, right? Come on now. Your lover wants to think that you consider her the most desirable woman on earth. Can she really be expected to think that when you're busy staring at another woman's body?
Although, I do have to admit, generally, when I'm with my husband, if he remarkably always makes me feel like I am the most gorgeous woman in the room. However, I feel like when we're in a situation somewhere, walking on a beach, at a restaurant, turns to notice a woman, I've either already noticed her or turning to notice her at the same time. So there's really no jealousy there. I mean, to me, anyone
you're
who
in a
thinks
secure
that your
relationship,
spouse, because you're in a good relationship, that they're not going to notice anyone else who's attractive is sort of ridiculous.
Well, I think it depends on how long the glance is. You know, if you're glancing
Yes.
over and you're noticing, oh, she's an attractive woman, but then if you continue to glance, or if you spend too long
Well, yes,
staring
and
at
if your
her,
head's on
I feel like
if your head's
that-
on a
right, I
swivel
mean,
stick and you're turning and
that's not
looking
cool.
at woman after woman after woman,
it's not
you know, that's not cool. Although I do have to say, I guess in fairness, when we were just in Austin to watch UT beat Clemson in football back in October, I thought I was going to need a neck brace looking at all the guys in their cowboy hats.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, maybe that's a fetish I have. I think men in cowboy hats are hot. It's something about being the manly man, being on your horse, being rough and tumble, wearing your jeans, your cowboy boots. I think that is hot.
Yeah, that's sexy.
Yeah.
That is sexy. Okay, well, we'll get you a neck brace next time you go to
Next time I go to Texas.
next time you go to Texas. I'll make sure that I have one bedazzled for you.
I would appreciate that.
Okay. Slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, doesn't cut the mustard. Well, it does sometimes.
It does sometimes.
It does sometimes.
I mean, think about it.
Come
and
on,
I think
Dr.
a lot
Ruth.
of women would agree with that, because I think sometimes women, for themselves, because it's hot and you want your husband to get off and feel like you can get him off quickly, but sometimes also a woman might not be in for the long, drawn-out thing. So you kind of appreciate the quick sex.
Well, and let's be honest, okay? I'm 50. I'm going to be 59 next month. Ugh, I can't even believe I'm saying that number. It's very big. It feels like a very big number.
That's okay. You can be 59.
Closer to the big 6-0.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyhow, you know, it gets harder as we age to have an orgasm. It's not as easy. So sometimes a slam bam, thank you, ma'am. If you take care of your husband, that's okay. Like you've mentioned that before on other podcasts. Like, so it doesn't always have to be about you.
I don't know any woman. I certainly don't. When they talk about, you know, oh, this could make you last for an hour. I don't want to be pounded on for an hour. I don't.
True. Yeah.
I don't think I ever did. An hour, like that's a very, very long time. Same thing like a blowjob. I don't want to give a guy a blowjob for an hour. Because then also psychologically you're thinking, oh my God, do I suck? Like, shouldn't you, if I'm giving you head, shouldn't you come?
Yeah, but come on, there must have been times. I mean, I like it when you can just be in bed all day with your partner, like, and then just over and over again, like.
Oh, yeah.
Have there been
over
times
and over
that,
again,
like
sure.
maybe not for an hour straight, but I think, and I like an hour. If you're having foreplay and everything else, it can last an hour if you have that. I don't know. I just like that kind of time and that connection. I think that's
Well,
cool.
I like the
on a
connection.
rainy Sunday. Like
on a rainy Sunday, we have accepted
Why not?
defeat and just hung in bed, and then you turn back to it,
Yeah,
and
just-
it doesn't have to be a 10 every single time.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Changing diapers is sexy. Okay, well, I get this. No, I get this.
Oh,
It just means now, of course, this idea applies to any task that always seems to fall on mom. Doing the dishes, folding the laundry, dusting the bookshelves. Don't do it just because you expect something, but if you volunteer for some of the dirty work, I'll guarantee that you'll earn your reward. I agree. I think any time a man empties the dishwasher, or if my husband helps me cook a meal, like if he's cutting up the vegetables while I'm cooking the rest of the meal, I find that really sexy.
well, yes. My father-in-law used to brag about never having changed his 3 kids' diapers, and I was like, I wouldn't tell people that. That's not something to be proud of. Unfortunately, Sharon, when you first said that, my mind went totally somewhere else. I mean, hey, you're almost 60. You're getting closer to diapers then.
I'm not thinking about depends yet. Jesus,
Well, they
slow
do
your
make
roll.
some sexy ones now. I mean,
Do they? Oh,
They might have ones that are more thong-like.
They don't. They should. We
You
can
know what?
invent that.
We should invent that.
We can invent that. We'll have
sexy.
joy of the hang. Sexy.
Sexy depends. Right?
Okay.
There's a need.
There is a need.
There's a total need.
Oh, dear God.
Well, you don't want to have panty lines.
We don't want to have. I don't want to have diapers on either.
But I guess I guess it depends. If you're,
it depends.
It depends.
But
if you need it for going for a pee, then obviously that would work. But if you need the depends for, going number 2, a thong wouldn't work so well.
No, that's not going to. I don't even want to think about this. We're going to go to the last one. Thank you, Dr. Ruth, for bringing that up. Just because you can't doesn't mean you won't. I think I have to read this. I want to talk to you older gentlemen, she says. I know that you can't always perform the way you used to. That doesn't mean that your sexual life is over, but you do need more time to get ready for the next sexual episode. Remember this truism that many of you either don't want to admit or just never realized. You don't need an erection to satisfy your wife. Very often, if a wife feels in the mood and the husband doesn't, he'll either ignore her desires or he'll try to have an erection. Then when he can't, he'll give up on the idea of sex altogether. But no law says that you have to have an erection to have sex. You can please your wife in a variety of ways. You can give her fabulous orgasms with your fingers, your tongue, or her favorite vibrator. Don't be selfish. Just because you're not in the mood doesn't mean that she has to be frustrated. And remember, no good deed goes unrewarded. So if at another time you need a little more help from her to obtain an erection, you're helping her during her hour of need. We'll go into an account that you can draw on later. That sounds like another 68.
It does sound like a 68.
It's
a total 68.
It's a 68 for her.
It's a 68 for her.
Yeah.
She's going to owe you one.
She's going to owe you one, gents.
And that's okay.
Don't hold out in her hour of need.
And that's okay. We had to do a lot of 68s, like tons of 68s after my hysterectomy. You are not allowed to have sex for 6 weeks. And then, because you're like sewn up, and my doctor made it extremely clear that after the 6 weeks, when you can go back to having sex, that this needs to be like plain Jane vanilla sex. Like, she literally looked at my husband and me and said, there's no like doggy style. There's no like, that's
there's
when
no
my
flying
husband,
monkey.
Yeah, my husband asked that. He brought up flying monkey, but
okay, you have to tell us, what is flying monkey?
Oh, sure, and that's for another.
Oh,
that's
shoot!
For,
you have
that's
to see.
for another
you all
podcast.
have to stay listening because I want to find out, and I'm sure you all want to know too. Maybe you already know. Maybe I'm the only one in the room that doesn't know.
But we had a lot of 68s because I wasn't allowed to have sex. But then, of course, my husband started to say, "Well, you do have a." I was like, "Shh, shh, shh."
So you had a big bank account built up then.
I had a big bank account.
You had a big bank. I hope he paid you back.
You're not even allowed to have an orgasm. I actually got in trouble because I asked her when I came back for a checkup about having a manual stimulation, like me masturbating.
Right.
And she actually said, oh my God, no, you can't. Like, they don't even want blood flow going there. Okay. And I just said to her, well, you just want to make sure it still works. I was concerned after my hysterectomy. I needed to know that it still worked, and it definitely worked, but I got in trouble and was told no stimulation of any kind.
I can't believe it. You were a bad girl.
I know.
You got in trouble.
I did.
Can't believe it. So would you add anything else to that list that you think men should know about women?
No, I think the big thing for both sides is just communication. Like, if you haven't asked your partner what they like, ask away.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the old saying, assuming makes an ass out of you and me, you might totally think your partner that you've been with 10, 20 years, something's their favorite and maybe something else is. Maybe there's something you haven't tried.
Right. Well, and it changes too, right? Things change.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Sharon. It does. I know I've changed.
Yeah. What was my favorite in my 20s probably might not be my favorite anymore. I never used to eat onions, and now I'll at least eat them cooked, for example.
Really?
I know, that's a big step for me. I know, boring, but
But we are, I mean, you're allowed,
right?
You're allowed to change. That's okay.
That's right. You're going to have different likes. So another great episode. This was fun.
This was a lot of fun, Sharon.
Yeah, this was
But I always
fun.
have fun when I'm with you.
I have fun with you too. Oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about this fabulous dress that I'm wearing. So Lauren showed up today with this dress she was about to give to Goodwill, and it fits me perfectly, and I absolutely love it. So thank you for my dress.
It fits you.
Freaking love it.
Like a glove. It looks stunningly beautiful.
I love it. Lauren's such a giver. Yeah.
I am a giver.
You are a giver. You are a giver. So thank you. All right, girl. Till next time. Oh, wait. You might have some advice for your younger self.
For my
you
younger
always
self,
do.
I would tell myself, you know what? Just like there are a gazillion, what is that saying? I just went blank. There are as many opinions as there are assholes. Or everyone has an asshole, everyone has an opinion. And I think that's so important to realize, because then you can just hear people's opinions without taking it so personally. Just learn to, listen with a smile at whatever opinion you get and not take it so personally, because someone's opinion doesn't have to affect your life or change your life or, change what you're going to wear or what you're going to eat for dinner. Like, just who cares?
Yeah, and I think mine after our conversation today would be, learn to advocate for yourself and find out what it is that you enjoy, and you don't have to be a people pleaser and try to please everybody else all the time. I mean, I think you really have to have a self-awareness about what you need and be brave enough to speak up and ask for it.
I like that.
Yeah, don't be taken advantage of.
No.
So, because there'll be a lot of times in life when people are going to push you. So be strong enough to push back.
I like that.
Right? All right. Peace out, girlfriend.
Peace out, Sharon. That was good.